right there, because we're not far off from where we need to be. Let me check one over here, see if it looks like we're getting the block square. And according to my gauge, we are. And like I say, we are just all but there already. So let's take 1/1000th more and see if it'll clean up this corner, and we'll be good at that point as far as the deck goes. I'm going to slow the speed way down so we can get a nice finish, and we'll put this back on time lapse. We've made what I hope is the last pass on that side. And it has all cleaned up. See where we're at on our gauge here. Okay, I'm going to say we're about 0.02 below where we wanted to be, but that is exactly why we figure in the 0.005 fudge factor, because it took just a little bit more to clean this block than what we had to work with. I'm getting the same reading down here, so we are square, but yeah, just exactly 0.02 more than I initially wanted. But like I say, that's okay. So with that, I'm going to zero my DRO, and at this point we can change over to the boring head and get those 4 cylinders rough bored while we're set up on this side. So I'll let you watch as I change my setup here. I have to take off the milling head and install the boring head. This machine has a nice manual carousel here to hold the tooling. Take the last nut off here, raise the machine head up. The milling head stays behind. Make sure you always put the cover back on to keep dirt and cuttings out. Spin this around to our boring head. Make sure it's clean. Lower down over the studs, and there is a pin here that's on a slot that has to snap into place. Our nuts back on. Snug those 2 down just a little bit. Raise the machine head up again. Carousel back out of the way. Last 2 nuts. Snug it down, and I'll just kind of visually align the block with the boring head. Sometimes if I actually go down a little closer, it's easier to get a visual on it. And viewers a lot of times ask why I don't start at one end or the other. I always start in a non-end cylinder. If it's 6-cylinder, I still wouldn't start on the end. Sometimes the webbing down in the block here is different on the very end cylinder from what it is on some of the others. For instance, this cylinder here, let me get the camera and I'll show you that. You can see there is nothing in the way at the bottom of that cylinder until you get way on down below. But this cylinder here has this piece right in this area here sticking out of the main webbing right at the bottom of the cylinder, where this cylinder does not. See, in that area there, my fingers fit back in, that's open, where this cylinder has that webbing. If I start on a cylinder like that and set my stop below the end of the cylinder and I move over to this one, I may set myself up for failure there and end up crashing. So that is the reason I don't start on an end cylinder, in case you were wondering. So I'll get my centering finger out, adjust the pointer to fit a cylinder of this bore size. I'm going to drop that down in maybe to about the middle of the cylinder. Set it in the slow speed here. There's a dial indicator up above here that will tell me when I'm in the center of the cylinder. I just have to move it back and forth in the XY axis a little bit until I find center. And that noise in the background is my gate alarm telling me somebody's coming through the gate. But the wind's blowing a little bit here, and I think it's just weed or something has found its way in there. Centered up. Actually, you gotta go turn that off. Tired of listening to that. We're gonna attempt to make this block 20 over. So I have set my cutter in the micrometer here for the proper diameter, which is about 4 inch and 15 thousandths because I want to leave a little extra to hone out of this block, since we will be using torque plates in case it distorts the cylinders significantly. It's a lot easier to hone a little extra than it is to wish you had the material to put back. And we need to set the depth, find one of the longest points in my cylinder, which appears to be about 5 7/8 inch. I don't think there's any reason to go any beyond that.